Our next guest has tangoed with wolves. He's protected Whitney, and he'll teach you to breathe through your eyelids, which is impressive. Also, not a bad guitar player. What's up, Kevin? How you been?
Hello, Gentry.
It's good talking with you. Last time we caught up, you were jamming with Modern West, and you were writing songs about being who you're supposed to be, and you had written a song about better let somebody love you. Have you found any closure with those lyrics since we last spoke?
Well, my eyes are wide open. So is my heart. It's just somebody's. You hope that you don't walk the rest of this life alone. Certainly, the band was with me when I was making Horizon. I managed to have 3 or 4 of them out and killed every one of them in the movie. So it was good.
Well, there's a big buzz about this movie. I know you've worked very hard and put damn near a lifetime into putting this together. Horizon, American Saga in theaters this weekend. There'll be 2 chapters, another one coming up August 16th. You told me last time we spoke that when you're going to make a movie last forever, it's got to be personal. You got to dig down deep and make it personal if these films are going to last forever. How'd you do that with Horizon?
Well, you do. There's 4 of them. The first 2 are done. You kind of invest in behavior because when we go to the theater, for as much as we want to be surprised, as much as want to, be fantasy, whatever you want to call it, what you also want to do is see behavior that allows you to step inside the shoes of the people you're watching. And when you think about the West, it was a rough place. It's not a land in Disneyland. It was rough, and it lasted 200-300 years. I'm talking about the people who left the East Coast. Forget about the people who crossed the Atlantic to get here. The people that were here and thought that there needed to be more, they crossed that Mississippi. And when they went out there, it was pretty even. You had people that had been there for thousands of years that did not want to give this up. And so if you create kind of a human architecture of what those interactions were, they were deadly. They were profound. They were human. They were funny. They were terrifying. And you can put all that in a movie. There was people falling in love out there. There were people losing their husband and wives and starting all over again. There were children that just didn't make it. It was a rough place, but you can find a level of honor and a high level of drama if you invest in behavior in a Western. If you don't, you just have a black hat and white hat.
I know the West was tough, but I also know movie making can be very tough, and you had a lot of roles on this, acting, directing, producing, did a little bit of everything. But what was your biggest obstacle making these films, and how did you overcome it?
Well, I finally ultimately had to kind of look to myself if I was going to make this, because this wasn't a picture that seemed to be in vogue, wasn't the kind of trend of movies that are being made. But that doesn't bother me because I really believe in audiences. I believe they want to go someplace that they maybe only even imagined about and then surprise them even more. For those that'll go because of me, I thank them. But I have a job to do, which is to thrill them and to kind of stir them as they sit there. But the obstacle was I just had to decide that I would just look to myself because it would not have gotten made had I not, and that's okay. But now it's made, and there's 2 done. I saw the second one. It's as good as the first, if not better. It's pretty bold stuff. It's a great way to get out of the heat and into a theater. There's going to be 2 of them, and the obstacles were always time, Gentry. It's like I shot Dances in 106 days, and I shot Horizon in 52, less than half the time, and it's arguably bigger.
Chapter 1 premiering coming up this weekend. Theaters are going to be packed. Get your tickets for Horizon and American Saga. I heard you say that Yellowstone really changed you as a person. Can you explain how it changed you?
Well, maybe that was a little too dramatic. My person didn't change. It was very important in my life, though, professionally. I've always wanted projects to mean something, to stand for something, and to think that America really tuned in. I was really proud of that. So maybe change my life is too dramatically. It had a big impact on my life.
And I know it's changed a lot of people's life, and people are really upset that you're not going to be on this B side of season 5 and moving forward. And I know it bothered you that you never really have been able to set the record straight, or nobody from Paramount set the record straight. Can you do that for us here on this show? Can you set the record straight as to what happened?
It's hard. It's hard to do that. I just stepped away like anything. I wasn't going to do one season. I ended up doing 5. I was working once a year and wanted to work a little bit more than that. I was averaging about 40 days of work a year, and I love acting. And so I needed to make room for some other things, and it just became, I wanted to do something like Horizon, not do Yellowstone, but I wanted to do something like Horizon side by side, which required making room for it. And when it felt like that was too much of an inconvenience, when it felt like it was too difficult, I felt the need, I've given everything I can. I'm just going to step away from this. And if someday it ever gets figured out, then I'll think about that. But that's how simple it was, really.
We're talking with the Academy Award-winning Kevin Costner. Go out and see him this weekend in the theater. Horizon and American Saga. You still got that car from Bull Durham?
I still got the car from Bull Durham. The Shelby Cobra. I bought the Modelette, the Ford that I chased Bonnie and Clyde in, and I actually have one of the trucks from Yellowstone. So at some point, I'm going to find a way to. I've collected everything I've ever done, and I want to try to find an exhibit somewhere where I can have all this stuff sit.
Which car are you driving the most these days? Does the Shelby get out of the garage much, or that's too expensive?
The Shelby does get out. It's a head turner. It's so funny. I mean, there's all these incredible cars out there, but sometimes when this green Shelby convertible goes by, I feel cars slow down. I feel them catch up, and they want to look over, which is fine. And then I always kind of have the dumb realization, oh, it's me driving, and I'm thinking, okay, I can't do that. So. It's a quintessential California surf car, and it came from one of our movies that I think that we still think about, Bull Durham, and that's really kind of the same hope I have for Horizon, which is you think back. I mean, who thought about Field of Dreams? Who thought Bodyguard? Both of those movies weren't going to even be made, and when they are, they become part of us. And every decision that I make going into Horizon is really, Gentry, I have that in the back of my head, that how do I make this be something that you want to revisit, that you want to show your kids? And I wouldn't let an R get in the way of things, because parents will go. But the truth is, yes, it's violent, but I think a lot of parents will, you know what, our 12-year-old can see this. I want them to see what our great-great-grandparents went through, because it's not trivial. I think women will say, no, I think our daughter should see this. I think that will happen. I think it could happen. It's what I hope.
You talk about taking your daughters to go see it. I know their mothers are going to love to see it after they saw your character, John Dutton, in Yellowstone, and he's got that cowboy hat and so charismatic and those tight blue jeans. A lot of women going to be going to the theater to see Horizon this weekend.
I'll tell you, the one thing that's going to surprise people is the dominance of women in Horizon. When I co-wrote it, it was surprising how women dominate. Every story has a woman running right down the middle of it, and it's appropriate that happened. It's appropriate that Native Americans are portrayed in this story, and you'll see it. So I do hope people get out to see it. I hope they talk about it. I don't want them to be able to leave the theater and not be thinking about it.
I recently heard you talking about a long time ago, when you were working on maybe doing a Bodyguard 2, and Princess Diana might be cast in this film. And when you went to go see her and see if she'd be in the movie, she told you, not so sure I could do it. My life is about to really change. I'm wondering, what do you think Princess Di meant when she told you, my life is really going to change right now?
Well, we have the benefit of history, and she was a very sweet woman. Her life was about to change. We all realized that she went through a divorce, but I didn't know that. She wasn't explaining details, but she was essentially saying is, I feel like I'm going to have a level of freedom that would allow me to be in this. I think I would like to be in this. Yes, write the part for me.
And I heard you got your son in this new movie. Is that true? He's got a role in Horizon?
Yeah, the character I play, his name is Hayes, and you mentioned earlier that the idea started bubbling in 1988. That was the name of the character. And my son is 13. I named him Hayes. I just love the idea of making this movie. It's the kind of movie I wish people would make for me. And I just wanted him to be in the movie, the namesake of it, and he did a really good job.
That's got to be so exciting as a dad myself to be able to see your son on the big screen with you. So go see Horizon this weekend, starring our guest, the Academy Award-winning Kevin Costner, who also, by the way, plays guitar like me. And I know that if you don't play, you can lose it real quick. Last time we spoke, you were playing a lot of music. How the callus is looking? You've been jamming lately?
No, that thing has been sitting there. Last time I played was in October. We played 3 gigs, but I will tell you this: the band put 3 songs in Horizon, and we have a traditional score symphony set in Scotland, and the score of Horizon is incredibly beautiful. But we had some rural songs that we could play authentic, and the band created them. And then I also put 4 of the band guys in the movie, and killed all of them.
Well, I hope to jam with you someday, get that guitar back up and start practicing again. It's time to get the band back together. And keep loving your family and enjoy a sunrise, and I'll see you at the movies, Kevin.
I'll see you at the movies, and I got to tell you, we've since I've seen you last, we've probably written another 25 songs, so we keep working whether we're on the road or not.
All right, man. Well, keep jamming, Kevin. Congrats on finally putting this passion project together. I'm proud of you, and we look forward to seeing you on the big screen this weekend. Take care, buddy.
Thank you, Gentry.